Berlin Art Stories by Luka Bunic.
Hey. Hi,
Hello.
Stefano. Hi.
Hi.
How are you?
Hi, Luca. I'm fine, and you?
I'm good. You pedal till here, no?
Yeah, it's been 10 kilometers, something like that.
You come from Neukölln.
From Neukölln, yeah.
It's a Berlin style. It's a good exercise, I think. Yeah. You brought me some presents. Is it for me or to see? Huh? No, I don't know. I'm not a tarot person.
I brought you my last work, which is actually a card game. It's a tarot game, which is it's not a divinatory tarot. It's a French game using the classical colors, the classical set of cards, and other ones. And this one I wrote actually. I generated them with AI. I mean, I worked with AI.
Yeah. You told me last time when I was in your studio. Tell me about it more. What do you do with it? How do you generate
So basically,
it?
what I did is that I took a classical tarot game and I made a new one, replacing the human figures with apes in a pretty classical style. It's black, white, and red. I worked with Midjourney and ChatGPT. And I made the Queen of Hearts. I mean, the queens and the kings and the jakes and the knights as apes. So basically, it's.
But it's beautiful compositions. I like it a lot.
Thank you.
It's very simplified, but it's very. I haven't seen
No,
something like
those
this.
Those are basically the trumps, which are the fifth set of color. And here you have
that looks good. Yeah, that's
and
nice.
here you have the hearts. And each card has an illustration. The 2 of hearts represents Romeo and Juliet as apes. The number 3 of hearts has 3 apes dancing. The 4 has 4 apes playing tennis. The 5th one is 5 apes. 1 is an explorer, and the 6th explorer, and 5 mermaids, and so on.
Did you do the drawings, or you completely generated
No,
everything?
all the drawings are generated. What I did is the font here,
Yes.
and the composition. I basically cut out pieces of images and selected them, and then I recomposed the cards.
You used it like a collage.
Yeah,
Like
if you like, yeah.
Got and then cleaned the stuff around. So you were born.
I was born in La Réunion, in the middle of the Indian Ocean, a French island, from a French mother and an Italian father. But I grew up in Madagascar.
Yeah.
So I'm French, Italian of Madagascar, which is always a bit difficult to explain. I mean, like,
Why?
it's a bit intricate. No, no, it's not difficult to explain. It's just long to explain rather than saying I come from here. Like, because when people ask you where do you come from, they could ask many questions, like where do you come from physically? Where was your
Background?
What culture do you come from, or what language do you speak, or
you speak more languages. I think you speak like 4 languages.
I speak 4 languages, but
which ones?
French, French, Italian, English, and German.
In German, okay, cool, man.
So like when people ask me where you come from, I try to understand what question are they asking. But then, like the very literal meaning of that question, I come from Madagascar. I grew up in Africa, in that big island southeast from the continent, which is an ex-French colony.
Yeah.
And
was a French colony for a long time. I was reading a little bit while I was waiting for you. I have some.
I'm bad at history, but we stayed maybe 80 years or I don't know, 150.
1960 it became like independence from this typical colonialistic style.
I don't remember when it started being a colony. Maybe beginning of the 19th century.
Exactly.
But,
yeah.
So a bit more.
1895 was captured. Did you grow up in this Antananarivo?
Antananarivo.
Yeah, Antananarivo. You grew up there?
Antananarivo.
It's a beautiful place.
It's a beautiful place. I mean, I didn't perceive it as beautiful when I was a kid, but now I see a lot of charm in the city. There's a lot of beautiful places. There's a lot of ugly places. It's a hard city to live in.
Why is it hard? Because of the poverty, also.
Especially if you're poor, it's difficult because of the chaos. It's very polluted. It's full of trash. Poor people, rich people, full of cars, old cars that are from the 50s that have been fixed,
still driving,
still working, but hardly working, and of course with no filters. So you have that brown emitting that dark smoke. And I mean, everything is so chaotic. It started being dangerous lately. I mean, lately in the last 20 years, actually. Oh, I'm already so old. But so it's hard. I mean, it's hard, only relative, especially if you're poor and you don't have a home. It's very, very, very hard, very violent. Then, if you have money like my parents did, you grow up in a beautiful house and you have a beautiful garden and you go to school with a car with your chauffeur. And so you basically levitate upon all that misery. So that's pretty comfortable. So the hustle is pretty much only that the traffic jams are endless. I mean, every day we would drive to school. It would take at least half an hour. And then whatever. So when people say that Paris is chaotic and crowded and tiring, I say, yeah, indeed. But Tenerife is even more, actually.
Mix of African culture, this intensity of African and the intensity of French speed. I'm trying to imagine.
It's not. There's not much. I mean, there's a lot of France in Madagascar, but no, it's just the speed of a crowded city where people fight to survive, and as there's the land is poor, the government is poor, the people are poor. There's not much infrastructure. It's not very well organized. So, for example, there's no. I mean, there is a service for collecting the trash. I don't know if it's public. I think it's public, but it's really miserable.
Not on a level like Europe.
Not on a level like Europe. I mean, not even. You don't even have like those green beans.
So they're piling trash.
They're piling trash in big containers or directly on the sidewalk.
Yeah.
And there's a
like
big,
in New York.
Yeah, exactly. I've never been to New York.
But they're doing it like this.
Yeah, but in New York, I think.
Yeah, but they're picking it up regularly. But there is times of the day, the friends that live there tell me you can. I mean, I've seen it literally like in where is this business district? The hill, like 5-meter hill of garbage, just closed in the black bags. It's like a little hill. In what's called where they have this downtown, the famous one where the stocks are and everything, Wall Street. On the Wall Street, man. The Wall Street, I've seen.
That was an action that was not regular.
No, they throw the garbage on the street. They put it. They don't have it so much, so they pile it, and then the trucks are picking it up.
Really?
That's a scientific proof. I've been there.
Okay.
Yeah. That's a little bit. Yeah, because they have a lot of. So they have these bags, black bags. They close it, seal it, and then it's allowed to pile them not directly on the street, but where people walk on the pavement. Anyway, so when you say Madagascar, you break some children's dreams now, talking about pollution, talking about everybody thinks about this beautiful nature, lemurs. I'm joking, man. I understand.
No, but
it's beautiful that you are conscious about these things. I'm just saying, picture us a little bit the other side of the Madagascar. I'm in love with lemurs.
The one with lemurs, the good side. So Madagascar, I've seen maybe the worst things in my life. I've also seen the most beautiful things in my life. The landscapes, the light, the nature, the trees, because my third big passion was to draw trees. I got inspiration from Madagascar. The power of the land, the power of nature is really amazing. I mean, it's a very old land, so you have those big big rocks. I mean, it's amazing how the landscapes are creative. I want to say, because you have so many different shapes. And also the most striking thing is the power of nature, especially at summer. I mean, what we call the rain season, because so the monsoons bring all that water and the heat, and like the nature explodes, and it's incredible how powerful it is, or how strong they are. And and the places where the nature is still thriving are not much, at least of primary forest. And it's a pity, because Madagascar, how do you say, most of the species in Madagascar are endemic to the island. They exist only there. And they're destroying a treasure of a lot of plants that have not been studied. And there's in Madagascar, so the traditional medicine is very rich, actually. There's precisely with those plants. So
have you ever been cured with something like at home? Maybe
I came. I mean, sometimes we hired some Malagasy traditional doctor, healer, call it whatever you want, and he took some recipes, and it was pretty. I use, but I mean, even now I use essential oils that I brought from Madagascar. But I mean, nothing particularly fancy, but just that
it works. Huh?
I mean, even if it's placebo, at least it works. But I mean, there's a knowledge about that. Anyways, it's a very sad land, because it's a beautiful land. It should be the richest in Africa, but corruption, for several reasons, among which I identify the most important, which is corruption. The country is basically sinking into misery, and it's just sad. I think that's the main emotion I keep from Madagascar. It's sadness, really sadness.
I noticed is that you have this duality in yourself. One is these beautiful, humongous drawings that you're doing, like very, very precise, like literally like they grew. So something in you is deeply connected with nature. This you can't do if you grow up in a city. I think this is.
I didn't grow up in the nature. I grew up in the city. We had a garden, and I loved having to do with the plant. And we would go outside often, and we would travel a lot. So there were my contacts with nature. Call it how you want, but.
I asked you before. I have to ask you again. You hold the lemurs? These are my favorite animals. So I have to ask
yes,
you
I held the lemur in my
lemurs.
Yeah, I held the lemur in my arms.
Are they aggressive?
Not at all. I mean, aggressive. I wouldn't say they're not. They were not so.
Yeah. Were they in captivity or in the nature? You managed to
the one that I took in my arms was in captivity. It's forbidden, actually, but it was I was a kid. It was at the friends of my parents.
Yeah.
And they had one, so I hold it, but he was not happy. Clearly, and he didn't like to be held in the arms. But the other ones I saw, I gave bananas. It was in a national park several times when I was a kid, and then lately I saw them like some years ago when I went on tour with friends.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, they're crazy. These huge tails are used to do these tail wars. Actually, I read a little bit when I was waiting for you that they don't use it like monkeys. They cannot hold themselves to grab something.
I don't know how you say that in English, mais...
no, flexible or whatever.
No, they're not. C'est pas prehensible, I don't know. But it's not... they cannot use it as...
They cannot, yes. But they have these tail wars. You know, they stink. If they want to stink, they have these glands and they put the tails. And so they explain each other who has bigger and stinkier tail, that one wins. So it's in a way. And also what I know since long, that's what I read now, but since long time I know what is making me always funny. Besides the native people around the world consider them as ghosts of spirits because they are nocturnal animals. Yeah. They also steal the beer from the farmers.
Do they?
Yeah, and they get drunk. So it was so funny for me. I always remember, since I sometimes paint animals, I really like this, that they I was imagining how they get drunk, So they are like primates, like
But
us.
they're primates. They are just older than they're the step that comes before the monkeys. Actually, they're not complete monkeys. They're just the step before.
Distance relatives.
But they're primates, yeah. And they are indeed thought to be the spirits of the ancients, which are very important in the Malagasy culture, the ancestors.
Is it being grown? This still like what it means? Like the when you say, do you know a little bit about the customs and traditions of the local people? Did you learn a lot?
Yeah.
You told me you had a nanny that was.
My nanny was Malagasy, yes.
Malagasy.
I read a bit about things, and yes, of course. I mean, the most peculiar cultural trait of the Malagasy people. I mean, one of the most is their animism. The main accepted religions are mostly Protestant, but also a bit of Catholicism. There's Muslims also, Islam also, but the traditional tradition is to venerate the ancestors, so the members of the family that are dead, maybe the most, some that have been particularly successful in life, but they're very present in the everyday life of the livings that believe in them, and it's interesting to see how the tombs in Madagascar are much richer, very often than the houses. And there are also rituals like I don't know if it's every 10 years or every 25 years or 20 years, but there's what they call the retournement des morts, the tossing of the dead, or they change basically the mortuary sheets. So they take the corpse out, they take them out of the sheet, they redress them and they put a new sheet, and it's a very important celebration. People are invited, all the family gathers.
So it's like mummies, so they preserve them in a way.
No, they're not mummified. It's just what is left. I don't know.
So really, that's scary a bit.
That's a bit, yeah. I mean, whatever.
For us Westerners.
Yeah.
For me, it sounds scary. I wouldn't like to redress my grandma and so on.
Me neither.
Oh man, you have so much stuff doing different stuff. Big formats, huge formats, very, very small, tiny drawing, piece by piece. How long it takes to do something like this?
So the drawing you're holding is the original is not so big. It's 1 meter per 70, and it took me 1 month and a half to do it. And
unbelievably precise. This is the series of monsoons, if I remember.
I call them monsoons because to me they represent monsoons. So
beautiful.
Rain falling from the sky and clouds. They treated, I would say, in a Japanese or Chinese way. It's black and white, and there's lots of details. And it can also look like the foam of the sea. It can be many things, but that kind of drawings is the one I've been drawing for the more than 10 years. And these are clouds. I call them clouds. They're somewhere in between abstract and representative, but I usually draw trees. In the beginning, it was precisely from those memories I was telling about and those gigantic trees. So the gallery I worked with in Paris for a while used to tell me, you're not drawing trees, you're drawing memories of trees. And that's very accurate because I work from imagination, or memories precisely. And it's black and white trees treated in a flat way, I would say. There's no 3D, there's no, depth in the, it's really two-dimensional. Many people say they look like Japanese or Chinese old drawings. I hate that, but I have to admit it's absolutely not intentional, but that's how it came out. And I tend, with that series of black and white drawings, I tend to go very big. The last one I've started some weeks ago is 2 meters per 3. And it will be actually like the one you're showing here. Yeah.
Why is the format so important for you, combined with these miniatures?
I think that what is interesting in the drawings is precisely the gap that there is between the frame, the size of the sheet of paper, and the density and the number of detail. Because
what is emotionally important for you when you have this huge? It's a conquering something. It's like, I don't know. I would get scared when I get such a big format, white, and have a little sharp pen. It's like, is it something obsessive?
It's obsessive. Yeah. When I do a drawing, I get very much obsessive. It's a bit like a black hole. But I don't know.
How long it takes to make drawings like this?
It depends. There's
like
several.
These formats that are you doing
the big ones,
lately?
I don't know. I started them I'm 20 hours. I'm at 20 hours now, and I have not finished. It's the first. I haven't finished even the first layer, but that will take, I guess, 100 to 200 hours. Usually, it spans over 6 months. Usually, more or less.
Yeah, you mentioned last time 6 months it takes for a drawing, and I was. Wow.
And I would say that the main purpose of the drawings is they want to convey an emotion. Is it an emotion? But yeah, an emotion in the viewer, which I would describe. I mean, awe.
Come again?
Awe.
All. The animal.
No, all. AWE. All.
Oh.
It's awe is a sense of marvel, a sense of beauty, a sense of overwhelming something. I don't know if but something of overwhelmed by something.
They definitely are overwhelming. So you manage this. This is check for sure.
I think that I want them to be a bit like an expression of that power and presence of nature of the elements to which we are submitted. Fun enough, I mean, that's much more. That drawing here is much more. So the clouds, it's a drawing of a tree. It's much more evocative of the transcendence of everything that is above us. We call it God or I don't know, whatever. But I mean,
it's like reaction and then action and then reaction in a way. It's like dispersing, this dispersing. I don't know what is more fascinating. It's a great combo because this, I would say, it has something Japanese, but in the end, when you see all this together, it has nothing to do with the Japanese.
I'm happy to hear that.
Yeah,
Thank you.
Wouldn't call it like this. Yeah, I think that's a Madagascarian thing you brought with yourself.
To keep answering to the size is important because precisely that's an evocation, that's a summoning, that's of something that is bigger than us, and I want to see them a bit as sacred images, it's always a matter of dimensions, and I want them to be bigger. Now I want to go bigger. Once I was asked, what's the matter of the size for you? I mean, to me, the format is not so important. It's the size. I mean, it can be any format by the moment it's bigger than a human being, because I want precisely the viewer to be,
when you enter into Baroque churches, this beautiful.
Yeah, I love churches. I mean, cathedrals.
Cathedrals, that's what
more precisely. I mean, and Baroque cathedrals are amazing because you're just amazed and in awe. Precisely, awe is a mixture. The feeling I was talking before, awe is a mixture of fear, actually, and admiration.
There we are. That's exactly beauty. Now these two words, fear and admiration. This is something you do.
But with that work, and the aim of that is to replace somehow the viewer, the human being, for instance, at his place. I mean, we are just a part of all that big stuff. And that's the same thing I do with the card game. In another fashion, that's more a playful thing, and I also put the human being, because it will be human beings playing in front of a mirror.
Playing with your own mirrors,
playing with apes,
monkey cards.
Yeah, monkey cards, and then. I mean, as it's only apes, you would say, but then that's a card game made for apes, made by apes for apes. I don't know, and who's the ape? And in the end, somewhere the player is the ape. And And that comes to that first work
Show me.
I mean, it's the last work.
Oh, did you bring? Yeah, I saw in your studio.
Those are, it's a little box with some insects inside. There's 2 flies and a beetle. And
Can you put them here on table? Because
and
I
they
don't see
have
from
the particularity of being covered with gold. So there's a fly, rather big fly.
Is it fragile? It's fragile, yeah.
Not particularly. I
It
mean,
would be cool if
don't smash it, but
yeah.
you can touch
touch
it.
it. Okay.
It's covered with gold, with actual gold.
Okay.
And it's covered with a very resistant resin to which the gold is sticked.
Yeah. This is a
stuck.
fly. How did you made the fly into gold? Did you use electrolysis?
No, I would have loved
it?
using
You wrapped
electrolysis, but
that would be great if you could make them hard.
the problem is that electrolysis. I mean, the body of a fly is not electricity conductive. No, I covered them with a particular resin made for gilding, and then I covered it with golden leaf. Mm-hmm. So same for here.
Mm-hmm. These are tiny.
They're tiny. Yeah, that's
flies.
this fly also, and that's a little beetle.
The little beetle. Wow. So there is something voodoo in these things that you do.
That is voodoo to you?
No. I don't know what is voodoo to you, but to me there is something spiritual into this. Voodoo. When we say voodoo, it's a needle in the person.
Yeah, I mean, here, just to make the connection with what we were saying before, here I do a very small work. And now they're not prepared to be exhibited, but I want to make some plinth. I mean, like to put them at the top of a little pole, and so I love the idea here of transforming something filthy or not disrespected,
yeah,
but
flies
that are filthy, flying shit, into something golden. It's just that I don't want to say that I don't want to symbolize anything like the flies are important or beautiful or whatever, but it's just it's just by covering them with gold, it draws attention to it, and it takes somehow another dimension. You realize how actually something so small is actually big in the sense of there's so much things to see in that.
But you've been also dressing bigger things. I've seen your chessboards. Like, let's talk about this. Maybe
the
it connects.
Chessboards, it connects to that.
Because it seems like there's
some connection, because I was imagining the flies as pawns for the chessboard. The chessboards is actually a project.
I love this idea, but I felt it's somewhere you need to pull it out from the ether, yeah?
Ether.
Yes, it's still not formed totally.
No, of course,
I would like to see more clear figures and not so...
And but there it's more, I mean, I went on with the work, but I have to take pictures, I have to finalize. But basically, to explain to the audience, the chessboards is just... weird project. I collected case made that I stumbled into in a Madagascar market. Stumbled into those beautiful rock chessboards in the shape of a turtle.
That's what we're looking at.
That's what we're looking at in the shape of a turtle. It's a handmade turtle. So unique pieces made by artisans of Madagascar, and they're so moving to me because, first of all, you see it's beautiful objects. You see the love that has been put in them. And I love chess because it's a beautiful game in terms of symbolic implications.
You've been talking about this when I was in your studio, and to be honest, I didn't have enough attention to follow you. It was quite complex. You already started to kind of rethink the figures and their acts, what they do.
Exactly. Basically, I just fell in love with the objects without knowing exactly what I would do with them. I wanted to draw chess pawns, which I did, and which were really beautiful, but didn't fit to them in the end. And also, absolutely for no purpose, I love small, cute objects. beautiful toys, just beautiful object when you see that there's been love put in them. And so I have that collection of small little figures. I had some done also. I made a figure in the shape of a tree, which I worked with a jeweler in Madagascar. So I have little silver baobabs.
These are really nice, these little baobabs.
Yeah, I have also a set of a chess game that I had, original chess game that I drew and that I had cut by a sculptor in Madagascar, a miniaturist, and I also had a whole little forest. Actually, I mean, I have 36 ponds out of wood. Made out of drawings of mine by the same sculptor.
It would be nice to see this.
Actually, it's on the webs. No, I took them away from the website. It's on the Instagram. I took them away because basically I've been working on that project for the last 13 years, not knowing exactly where I was going, and then it made sense all of a sudden, like 3 months ago, and I basically decided that each board would be not a chess game, but different game, and to use all those little figures, those little rats out of silver, those little frogs, those little turtles of stone, of ivory, those all tiny figures, so lovely, the little dogs or people, to reorganize them and to reorganize them around the chessboard, on the chessboards, and each chessboard would then be a different game with different pawns that were composed just by their aesthetical aspect. But then playing with them around, each board would tell its own story, would have its own atmosphere, and some pawns would correspond to this or to this one. And then I started to tell myself stories, and I said it would be nice if each board was a different game, and the rules of those different games would tell a different story. I wanted to tell other stories, maybe more intimate stories, and I have, like anybody, I guess, a hard, not very easy family history. I have many sick people in my family. Many, 2 is a lot, over 5, I think. But anyways, then I chose 5 of the boards and decided, okay, each board will be one member of the family. We're 5. Including me, and each board the portrait will tell the story of that particular family member. So the dearest to me, of course, is my mama. And she is my mother suffers of hard paranoia problems.
She's alive.
She's alive. She's
in Madagascar?
She's no, she's in France, precisely. But she lives in Rome, but now she's in France, and she's an adorable person. My mother is so generous. She's so sweet. But she suffers from paranoia, which whatever.
How that manifests? Because I have to ask you, because I have a brother who has paranoia.
She has persecution. How do you say, manias?
So it comes and goes. No.
There's episodes and the hardest episodes happened like 10 or 15 years ago. Now she's older, it's calmer, but I know still she has no social contact because everybody is evil.
And this is paranoia.
And the only people that have access to our intimacy, I mean, we still have contact with her 3 children, so my brothers and I. Then some members of family. But she
never hurt you or some.
No. She's
because
always
paranoid people can get aggressive.
But no, she's never been aggressive. She's a lovely person. So that's the aspect of her personality that I wanted to portray. So I decided, I called it the Parano Queens. But basically I said then two sets of pawns, 8 per each, with 2 queens, a white queen and a black queen.
White queen and the black queen.
And the black queen.
No king.
No king. On the side of the white queen, there's her 3 sons. So basically the tower, horse, and
the loafer.
And how do you call it? The bishop. Plus, I put the Buddha, I put the Virgin Mary. My mother is very much
Catholic oriented.
Spiritually involved, let's say, a believer, and she's a fan of Jesus and the Virgin Mary, but I put the Virgin Mary there. And then I put, I don't remember what exactly, there's the cat, and there's another, and there's the golden tree. And that's the white. And on the black side, I portrait. So there's the Black Queen. There's the Baron Samedi, Baron Saturday. Baron Saturday is a character in the Vodou culture that is basically the master of the dead. He controls.
It's a mix of French and Madagascar culture.
No, absolutely not. It's
Never
Vodou.
heard.
It's Vodou culture, so it's the Caraïbe. Baron Samedi is not a character that you find in the Malagasy culture, but it's just linked to black magic. And one of my mother's big hustles is the black magic. She's convinced that we've been verflucht. I don't know how you say cursed. And so that was a big, and that conditioned a lot of things in my life. So he asked me, how does it condition? So basically, we moved from Madagascar to Italy because there was black magic on the house. Basically, you see here, I want precisely to create some
family environment, roots in the family.
Yeah, but the rules of the game, I think, according to my sensitivity, they are linked to that paranoid shape of the mind.
Talking about paranoid, I have to just mention I bumped by accident. I'm not the person, but with you somehow of data and informations. I liked flow, conversation, and emotions. But there was actually a paranoid queen there in Madagascar. Famous one.
Ah, c'est vrai. Ah, true.
Ranavakona the first.
Ranavaluna first.
Ranavaluna, yeah.
Ranavaluna. Yeah,
the first. She was paranoid. In the end, she was killing everybody who she thought that...
The Christians, yeah.
Yeah, that she was somebody against her. So paranoia. Interesting that.
But mostly she was killing the Christians. She would, because as I said, the traditional culture was mostly animistic, and then when the French came, they came also with their religion, trying to convert people, and that was
that's a schizo, like a clash of cultures.
A clash of cultures, yeah.
That could result also people being a bit afraid of each other and not knowing. We are afraid of what we don't know. Like I told you, I'm afraid of huge white canvas.
But which is also, I mean, which was also not so stupid of hers, because I mean, she was maybe seeing that France was trying to conquer and somehow.
Yeah, to suppress. They did it. Yeah,
and they did it in the end. Yeah.
Oh man, cool. This, I thought it will be, it's hard to explain.
So I would like, and just to finish with that, so basically that was the story of my mother. There's one for my father. It's more of a race, actually. You have it's a race. And so on. I want to do that with my brothers, but I haven't started yet. And in the end, I would like to work with a shaman to make them magical, because... Also for my brother, for example, that is, I have a brother that is schizotypical disorder. Disorder, and it's impossible to heal him because he considers that he is totally fine. But then, I don't know, I want to work with a shaman or some magician to give them power to those boards and to heal them, my family members, through the boards.
Artists used to be shamans in the old age. Artists, they were shamans.
Yeah, I think that the artists are somehow linked to the beyond, you know, like
the other side.
The other side, yeah.
I mean, you are doing a kind of attempts to make something magical.
A new reality emerge, call it. But I think that any art piece is actually tries to be magical. Actually,
exactly. This magic is when you transfer it into psychology. They are doing constellations with the whole family. Now it comes to mind, like a figure.
I'm very much interested in psychology.
Only queen can eat. The black queen moves the white moves the black. It's genial, man. You should work on it and make it simple for us later.
But that's the thing. Good, a good game. The first rule of a game design, because I started reading a bit about it, easy to.
It's not this.
Easy to learn.
It's more complex.
Easy to learn, hard to master. But the rules should be easy, and it's the same for any game.
I love it. I love it. That's a good one. So this, I mean, all the time I'm trying to picture you as being small and having a nanny who is from the Madagascar.
Yeah.
How was the name of the people?
Malagasy.
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 Yes. Malagasy nanny, and you got very close with her. You've been on one art dinner and talked a bit about it.
Yeah, you remember that?
Yes, I remember. Actually, you've been like on a phone for longer, and you've been quite upset because you have still contact with them, and there is still
not
property there.
That's a long story. I don't know, but
you don't need to go. But I'm curious about this.
I was very I was very curious. I was very close to my nanny when I was a kid, Bertine. But she was fired by my mother when I was 8 or 9.
She's a black woman.
A black woman, yes.
Fired means like burnt a bit.
No, fired.
Fired.
No, not burned.
Sorry. Oh God. Sorry.
No, for God's sake.
No.
Horrible things happen in Madagascar.
White queen.
But no, the mothers are not allowed, white queens are not allowed to.
Yes.
And she, for paranoia reasons, actually, my mother fired our nanny because she thought that she was doing black magic against us.
I see. And you've been close to her and you knew that you connected with heart to heart. She was a nice person.
She was a nice person. She was my second mother. Yeah. She was our second mother. Yeah. And then, but there's another nanny figure, let's go this way, in my life. Saundra has been working for us for the last 30 years. And I'm very moved by those women that look so weak and are so strong, because it's life in Madagascar is hard, and it's even harder for a woman.
For sure.
And besides, Madagascar is a very
patriarchal place.
I mean, yes and no.
Is there any connection with these also stories that you do?
Yes.
You're a weird, interesting. People are usually like, I'm a designer, but I want to be artist, or I'm an artist, but I've tried to survive with the design. But somehow you're both, and both authentically. That was my.
Do you think so?
For me, from my perspective, I think that you are both. Like, look at these cards, and then look at these drawings.
Of a design. Look, artist to me is a strange word that I don't like so much.
You've been doing many things also. In your biography.
First of all, it puts you in a box because artists are supposed to do one thing and not other things. You shouldn't behave like this and should behave like that. That's what I hate the most. I mean, I enjoyed making the card game, which is more of a design object, maybe.
But then when you open them and you see the concept of monkeys looking monkeys in the mirror.
No, I mean, I guess that an artist is supposed to, I mean, what we call an artist is supposed to act on a canvas or a block of stone. or gips of clay or whatever. Yeah. Or video now. Maybe there's new formats that have entered the thing. What is art or not? Well, to be honest, I don't care exactly. I want to make beautiful objects and objects that
put the spirit in them.
Not even that, just to create an emotion. My drawings aim at creating awe. The cards, they're more like here to make smile, and also maybe to create a bit of awe, not awe, but admiration, because I think they're really cute. And same for the flies. I want to create astonishment and also a bit of a puzzling, like such a precious thing in the shape of such a filthy thing. Like, I don't know exactly what my message is.
I can imagine them, like a lot of them.
I actually want to put them with the chessboards. I want to put them in perspective with the drawings, because I think that precisely what is interesting about my work is that switching between dimensions already in the drawings, you have that, and I think that also putting them in perspective with the chessboards and at a more extreme level with the flies, you force the viewer to adopt several dimensions, precisely because in the drawings you're so small in front of them. I want the viewer to feel so small, at least, and you're just a viewer actually when you're in front of the drawings. You cannot act or do anything. You're just in front of that overwhelming awe, call it whatever you like, what I want to try to seize with my drawings. Whereas when you're confronted to the chessboards or even the cards, you're in another position, because then you become active in the object and you take decisions, and actually you're much more as a creator and as a god, actually. And that's again a matter of sizes, between from the first situation where you were just the poor creature in front of the big thing of nature, then you become a sentient and thinking entity that takes decision for smaller beings, called the pawns.
Makes sense.
Same for the flies. I think that the flies, I would like to put them in perspective with drawings of flies, but in a big size, to see that big and small are relative. And
which media pushes you the most? Is it like all drawings are most physical, and then these things are kind of mental a little bit?
There's no my drawings, I physically need them. I physically need them. If I spend too much time without drawing, I feel bad. And this summer, for example, I've spent months without drawings, because I was focusing on other stuff, because I also do video and now interactive image, and writing also a lot. I like to read also a lot, and to be honest, that question you were saying, you're an artist or a designer, or I am both. Actually, my first studies were philosophy, and
yes, that was my next question.
And I think that that's also part of the work. What I do now, the apes, the card apes, or whatever ideas I try to vehicle through my work, come from that background as a philosopher, as a thinker. You don't need to study philosophy to be a thinker, but I think what you call artist, if there's something that would define it, to me, artists are philosophers that express themselves with other things than words. Because I think that when there's a real coherence in the work of an artist, it means that there's a coherence in the heart, in the thought, in the way of living his own life. And to me, like, a beautiful artistic path, artistic career is just a way for expressing a certain view on the world, a certain philosophy precisely, or to put emphasis on certain point of the real world that you want precisely to enhance, because that corresponds to your way of thinking, your values, your philosophy. Sometimes
visual can be stronger than words.
Yeah, and sometimes words have much more impact. Actually, it's been a long time I haven't written, but I was quite good at writing. It's always a matter of, and when I was writing, I had that very dark humor. And I'm thinking of a particular text that I wrote when I was a student, and that the old class laughed at, and it was really, and the old school laughed at, and I was even summoned by the direction, saying, "What the fuck is that text?"
Okay, so it was something darkish but funny.
It was very funny, but it was I was making fun of the school, of the system, of the people, of the class, of the whatever. It was a bit arrogant, I have to say, but willingly arrogant. It was consciously arrogant, and it was making fun, and the person writing was making fun of himself too.
Yes.
And the main thing that moved me, because I think I wrote something good, was that my main goal was always the emotion I wanted to convey. I have a very clear idea of the emotion I want to create, and then the image or the text or the video or whatever comes after and is composed by that emotion, let's see. But I think that's also a very characteristic of my work, is that I like to compose with case. Because, for example, my drawings, they might seem so controlled, which they are indeed, but which they are not, because I have a precise, not so precise actually, idea of the composition.
General idea.
But then the detail is completely drawn and driven by the pen itself. And same the chessboards, I don't have an idea of. I don't think, okay, I would like to portray my mother like this, so I need that figure. I compose with objects that I already have, and what I'm telling you now is something I just became aware of or realized, or I mean, I took the decision to think this way not long ago, like maybe 1 or 2 years ago. But before, I was precisely being so harsh to myself, because I would say, like, I would tell to myself, you're not a good artist, you're not a good designer, you're not a good developer, you're not a good... And so because if you consider the description of how we evaluate the value of people nowadays, are they very good in one thing, you know? A big corporation especially, they won't go for a profile like mine, because I mean, for the little story, I'm a graphic designer and a developer, and that's how I earn my life. I mean, that's my main source of income. I do design.
Something has to pay the rent at the moment.
As an artist, call it whatever you like, I do what the little the drawing and the monkey thing. An artist, let's call it this way. I don't make my living out of it. I sell sometimes, quite often, I have to say, but I don't rely on it. I don't want to rely on it, because
that's a good one.
Yeah, I don't want to rely on it. But I actually have been lucky. I'm very lucky in my life, I have to say. And it's also in that fashion. My first exhibition was in a gallery that was not famous, but it was a good established gallery since 40 years in Paris. Clara Scremini, a Uruguayan woman, a certain age. She was in her 80s. Now the gallery is closed since 2 years, I think. But I mean, my first exhibition was in a good gallery in Paris, you know, and I'm pretty proud of it. So I think also that I would have loved to have a career as an artist, meaning like earning a lot of money and making a lot of, being invited and making a lot of good exhibition. Maybe I could have done it, but
didn't open, but I still has
but
to
the
open.
thing is that but the fact is that it's I was until some months ago, some 1 or 2 years ago, I was precisely called how do you say, being harsh to myself and criticizing myself and culpabilizing. Do you say that in English?
Yeah, I understand.
To make myself guilty. Yeah. Anyways, like, you should produce more. Also, because of the gallery, she was telling me, you should concentrate. You should not do video. You shouldn't.
This lady told you this.
This gallerist, because I shouldn't sparpagliarsi. How do you say? You shouldn't spread your energies. Concentrate on one thing. And I listened to her, so I did that series of big drawings that are beautiful. I'm very satisfied with them. But when I do only this, I'm not happy, first of all, because doing those drawings is really demanding in terms of physical energy. I mean, it gives me tensions in the whole body. And also mentally, I mean, it's just depressing. I mean, sometimes I need them because it's kind of a meditation or whatever, and it's a kind of energy that I have to let out. But some other times I don't want to do that. And so why should I then I have been dreaming of a card game since years. I've not allowing me to do that. I have to say that AI was a good motivation also, because I mean, I was mostly lacking the time for doing a card game. And then I said, like, what the fuck? I'm allowed to say that.
Yes, of course.
What the fuck? I don't care. I do what I like, and my main purpose is creating emotion or laugh. I mean, among which laughter or awe, precisely, or beauty or calm. Many people tell me that my drawings make them calm, you know. Yeah. So
these jumps are something you need. This is what I discovered.
This is something I need, and also to feel free. And as I don't rely on my artistic activity to live, I'm free to do that.
Is there any, just shortly, any connection between, you're also good at coding, I think, and web design, or?
Yes.
So is there any connection with coding and this?
Good question.
I can't.
It's a good question. Yes. It's language. It's system.
Like Matrix.
It's a language. My thing is, I grew up in between 3 cultures. And 3 cultures is just a simplification, because my mother is actually French, but from La Réunion, which is a Creole French. It's a mixture of India, France, Africa, and everything. And
coding and this.
Yeah, I come to that, and my father was Italian going to Madagascar and living in Madagascar is a lot of different. So what is the link between coding and this? Is that I had to deal with several languages, but more largely with several code systems.
I understand. I think I got it.
Image belonged to that. Also, because when I was a kid, I was thinking like drawing was a way, as I was switching between French, Italian, and many people wouldn't understand my Italian, Malagasy people, and I didn't understand Malagasy. I still don't understand Malagasy. I'm very ashamed of that, but being understood was a question. It was not a problem, but it was a question for me, and I explored that through drawing. To me, drawing was a way of communicating actually, and communicate simple concepts or more complex things, and up to very abstract things. And then I realized that actually there's things you can only express through a visual support, and that's what I'm trying to do. So, and here, for example, well, I don't know exactly.
This one also. Yeah.
But there's a system here also. There's a story to be told. There's energies, there's forces. Because...
that's what I'm saying. I don't see the mistakes. It's like a perfect code. Because I don't see where it's broken. We could discuss some details, but I somehow you managed to.
My drawings are very much organic.
Yeah, I don't see where you made a mistake.
So I guess there's no mistake.
No, you understand what I mean.
No,
it's compositionally. It's not like usually on the paintings when it's good. They say all the mistakes are working inside the composition.
Yeah.
So I see this here. So that's why it's quite perfected, But it's a weird thing because you can maybe make a sketch, but I see it's going organically. So I don't see where you did too much.
The sketch is a few lines here.
That's what I'm saying. So it's grew naturally, but it's grew like a nature in a way. So there must be some.
Because precisely the organicity is in the interaction between me and my hand and the paint and the pen.
This one is interesting. I just took it from your internet site and printed it.
The gallerist hated this one.
No, I find it very interesting. It's not even finished here.
Me too. It's one of my favorites.
It's even more interesting.
If art has a purpose, there's if I can make advertisement here, please, people absolutely read the Letter to a Young Poet by Rainer Maria Rilke.
Maria Rilke. Letters to a Young Poet.
It's very interesting. But one concept, the concept I like in that book is that basically it's a young poet writing to Rainer Maria Rilke, who was already a confirmed writer, a public character, asking him, should I be a poet or shouldn't I be? And what should I know? What should pay attention to? And Rainer Maria Rilke answered with those beautiful letters. You should read them. But the concept that I prefer, the most striking one to me, is try to imagine yourself not being able to paint, to write in that case, but in our case, it's a painting or drawing. So, and if you think that you couldn't survive that, if you need it absolutely, then it means that you're an artist. But if you could imagine even spending one day, or can imagine to live that life without doing that activity, that creation activity that you're aiming at, it means that you're not an artist. So, well, I don't know if I'm an artist or not.
No, this way I'm not an artist then. My brother, he grew up drawing. There was a woman.
No, but it depends.
I know. But this is, you will scare some young people out there. There is some things what's about the jumps? That's also art. The jumps that we are doing. Jumps to this, jumps to design.
But precisely, you have to define when I do one thing, like precisely what is that thing that you would like to do? So in my case, I just see just jumping. I like to jump.
Creativity. let's call it
creativity, but I mean,
creativity, because somebody will think if I don't do a drawing in a week, I'm not an artist.
But precisely that's why I don't like the word art, because it's so restrictive. I mean, to me, an artist is anybody that does something he loves. He puts love in it, and he thinks that he's giving love. He's bringing something to the world.
But you studied philosophy, the web design. Where did you learn? Your drawings are very good.
I took some lessons actually, but I've been drawing since I was a kid. That's one of my talents. But that's why I come again. It's a matter of language because, well, I have a visual eye, brain, and spatial.
Hands are usually hard to paint. This hand as well also.
And so to me, actually, being able to draw is just a way of actually communicating them, like transcribing the reality you see into paper. So, and here we see the human figure. It's a man with glasses, made naked, in a strange position. His left arm has disappeared. He's like kind of dissolving, and he's made of a lot of small dots, white circles of different sizes, but very small, very detailed, very intricate.
Like moose or something.
And it gives the impression of being kind of a moose and of how do you say that in English? De grouiller.
Nets.
You know, when there's a lot of worms that I don't know the word in English.
But I got you. I know what I mean. So very natural, very organic, very earthy.
And the idea between that drawing, the gallery I was working with, she hated that because it was a trend at the time to make portraits of people with all those little symbols, those little dots and those little cross and those little. This one is very simple. When my father died, he died in Madagascar, so I had to fly immediately to there. But the first thing I did coming out of the plane was going to the morgue and to recognize the corpse. And what was striking to me was that the whole body was kind of swollen and the color had changed. It was kind of grayish, mauve, blue. There were shades of yellow and the cells were like each single cell seemed to be inflated, and it really gave the feeling that actually what kept all those cells together had disappeared, and that it had exploded,
blew away.
It was dissolving basically, and. Why was I talking about Rainer Maria Rilke? Because there's really little drawings. There's not many works that I needed to do. I mean, physically was in the urgency of doing it. And the first one, there's been only twice, and it was always linked to my father. But the first time was this one, because that vision of my father dead was absolutely so unbearable that I had to let it out somewhere. So I basically...
He died natural death, or something happened to him?
It was a natural death. I mean,
okay.
So it's not. It was a natural death, sickness, and it's normal.
It's a custom. Yeah. Okay.
I guess it's the normal thing. I mean, your father dies. The first person of the family has to go to watch. And to be sure that it's him, it was him. Yeah. And the second one was not. It was some weeks ago, because I won't tell the story, but that when my father died, I inherited a big house, the house I grew up in Madagascar, which I owned until some weeks ago, until when I've been robbed. That house have been stolen basically through illegal procedures, and corruption made so that we've been kicked out, and it was really painful. And I spent days in my home just reproducing that house in 3D on my computer. I have not finished that work yet. I have not used it, but I know what I will use it for. It will be a video game. But it was really physical. The pain was so intense that I had to do something actually. And the thing I did was to reproduce. I spent 3, 4, 5 days reproducing my house, pretty in detail.
This happened recently.
This happened in June this year, 2024. Yeah.
In June. Have you been here when you got the call or something? That was the beginning.
No,
of it.
Actually, that happened. That what I did happened one or 2 months ago, because we actually understood
that we were losing, and I was mourning. Then what happened the day I met you was that we've been actually kicked out. The police came at our house and
The stuff was outside on the street.
threw everything on the street, the furniture. And,
Who is from your? What connections do you still have with Madagascar? With your family there?
I don't have any connection anymore. I had that house. The people that were working for us for years that are almost family. But I mean, we're not friends. I mean, we're family, but it's not people that would go to visit regularly.
Where have you been last time to Madagascar?
2023. I think last August, not last August, but the one before. Precisely because we thought that we were losing the house. We went there to empty it, and finally we found somebody. I mean, anyway, I don't want to dig into the story.
Sure.
But yeah, just to go back to our theme, I think that art is a way of is one way, not the only way of coping with pain. Yeah,
You can literally
in my case, I sometimes sublime. Do you say that in English? I transcribe. I translate my pain into some object that is considered artistic. Sometimes I just go running or
There is poetic something, there is something like also scary in this one.
Yeah. Fear.
Yeah. So tell me, what do you think, like, from all of these things, if you would have to choose one medium, which one would be most exciting for you? Which one you couldn't live without?
Look, I would say the ink and the paper, but the most exciting one is not the most exciting. It is exciting, I mean, and what is? I mean, it's not the most exciting. Is sometimes I'm excited by this, and sometimes I'm not.
Actually, it's two questions. One, what excites me is this. What I can't live without, it's painting and graphic.
But you don't have to choose. I mean, it depends. It's two different moments. I mean, it could be both. I mean, like there's those moments when I need to be alone, and I couldn't live without them. And there's those moments when I need to be in contact with another being, and that's also I couldn't live without. Gott sei Dank is this way. I mean, I couldn't live without drawing for sure. I couldn't live without playing video games, without playing games. Actually,
what's your favorite game?
In general,
video game.
In video game, the most beautiful one, video game. The most beautiful one is Final Fantasy VII.
Final Fantasy VII. I have to write it down. Have you seen The Journey? The Journey with the little figure going through the sand.
Journey. I haven't played, and I would love to. It's beautiful. Yeah.
Which one is you said?
Final Fantasy VII.
Okay, I'm not into the games, but I like to sneak in a little bit.
Final Fantasy VII, and for different reasons, because there are so many also different things in the games. I mean, Final Fantasy VII is for the story. I mean, the gameplay, of course, it's a mixture. I mean, the video game is a unique way of telling stories, but for the story, Final Fantasy VII. But in terms of how magic the interactive image is, it's Zelda to me. But I mean, playing game would be, I don't know, is it?
So something it's really... Well, I'm afraid of this because I get super obsessive and addicted to these things.
Yeah, but drawing for sure, I couldn't live without drawing, I think. And...
And what about the cities, different cities? One, I already forgot the name. Tell me years, how long you spent. You spent in
Antananarivo.
How long?
15 years.
Paris?
Paris, I spent 9 years in Paris.
And Berlin now?
9 years.
Is there any way you can tell a bit about your impressions of three, like somebody who never lived in none of these places? From your perspective, doesn't matter.
What would I say? the most chaotic and stressing cities for sure, Antananarivo. And
You explained why.
I think it would be good. I mean, I think that having traveled into the poorest place in the world, and one of the richest cities in the world, Paris. I mean, Europe, not important if Paris or Berlin or wherever, Europe is one of the richest places on earth. It got me precisely that sense of that incredible gap that it can be between realities, how different our lives are.
Same planet.
Same planet, and so different times, actually. Sometimes when I'm in Madagascar, I really have the feeling of being in the Middle Ages. I mean, or on how I picture myself, the Middle Ages. But and I think that's where that my word comes from, precisely because I was speaking about dimensions, feeling small, feeling big, feeling being conscious of your position as a living being, being privileged, being black, being white.
Yes,
I mean, I'm fascinated also by the chess boards because it's symbolically speaking. You see, it's a battlefield between black and white. Yeah. So to me, it resonates in another way. I mean, in a particular way. And I missed what I was saying.
It's like you're bridging a gap in between
Yeah,
worlds.
exactly. So it's basically bridging gaps that are really vertiginous. I don't know how you say that, but it's zwindling.
How do you handle Berlin winters? I ask everybody who is...
I mean, I survived until now after 9 years. I would have never thought because, I started liking Berlin. It took me 9 years, but I started feeling at home now in Berlin. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, because in Berlin you have so many... before Berlin, I was feeling Paris was my home before I even got there. I was Parisian before going there. I know that there's a lot of bad things that people say about Parisian, but I love them.
Yeah, I love the city.
But what I loved in Paris is that precisely it's such a mixture of so different cultures and aesthetics and smells and colors. And I mean, you're in a street among the prostitutes, then you turn around and you're among the bourgeois family, and then you turn around, you're in India, and that really gave me that feeling of the world is all gathered here, which is a feeling that I was seeking for because, growing up between all those cultures, I'm not really Italian, I'm not really French, I'm not Malagasy for sure, but even still, I'm a bit Malagasy, I have to say. I was jealous of the other kids who would go back to their little village where they knew everybody, where all the family was gathered, where they would meet all their family. I mean, half of my family was 300 kilometers away in La Réunion, and the other half was 10,000 kilometers away in Italy. And I felt stranger to both of them because in La Réunion we were the Italian cousins, in Italy we were the French cousins. So. And maybe having a city like Paris where everybody's a stranger or a foreigner, and at the same time they are Parisians because precisely the Parisians, they're from everywhere but Paris.
Can I ask you something? Your trees, now I didn't print the examples, I will put it later. I don't remember, do they have roots?
No, good question. No, they don't have roots. Precisely, they don't have roots.
Have you ever thought about doing the roots?
No.
No roots.
No, I've been asked for. My cousin wanted to have a tattoo, me drawing a tattoo with a tree with the roots. But I mean, not that against the idea of the roots, but in my mind it doesn't. I mean, I cannot imagine an image that would be elegant of a tree with the roots. But maybe it will come. But yeah, good remark. Yeah.
Yeah, because in Chinese they have this symbolism that the human is like a moving tree. So we have the roots, and they are grounding us, and you have the hands and upper part that's more connected to the sky and to the upper energies, and down to the earth energies. And I was drawing also a lot, and I noticed I don't put the roots, but I was moving so much. My parents were hippies, and they were traveling in a van a lot and moving. I moved to primary school, 6 of them. I never had really like a friend,
That's
like
hard.
a kid in a village. So I kind of relate to you. You are on a global level. So I hope I would love to see these crazy trees with somehow the roots also gets.
But you saw them when you came at the studio. Do you remember there was that big tree hung on the left side? No, you don't remember?
Yeah, true. The big tree. Yes.
Yeah. There was a big drawing that was. I mean, I don't know if you saw a tree because besides they're half abstract, half realistic. I mean, representative. But
on the wall left, you had.
It was on the curtains. I had hung them on the curtains.
On the curtains.
But I mean, there was lots of things to see that day in all the studio, not only on my. But yeah. But
that's interesting. Yeah. Do you think the world misses these roots, tradition, spirits in the culture of Western?
I mean, I think it depends on what you call the roots, but I think that we lost the connection to the
this animism in a good way.
Connection to the object, to the world that is around us and that we live in, actually, because we consider. I have to say that I mean. I think I also have kind of a animism conception of the world, animistic conception of the world.
Interesting. I mean, you grew up somehow with they're influenced. I think.
I mean, I saw that because it was in the books, but I was never to some rituals. I was never. But my mother was very much exploring spirituality, and she went into some sects, she went into some other spiritual paths, and for the longest she's been in an Hindu spiritual path, so I've been very much influenced by that. They believe in reincarnation, and
we have a lot of gods. They are different than Buddhism.
Yeah. And maybe the contact with Madagascar, but I think that it's beautiful. You know, I've heard that the Indians of America, when they kill an animal, they pray and they thank them and they beg for pardon.
I've heard about it,
and I find that so beautiful because when you consider from pure Western way, I mean, pragmatic way. It's simply acknowledging a very true fact that we're all depending on each other and that without them we wouldn't exist, or we wouldn't. And like for the trees, it's basically the same. Like the air that we breathe is produced by the trees.
True. Anyway, my friend, so nice that I first of all, I love doing this because I get so much to know more about you and the people who were here. I would never get the opportunity or to sit and really carefully explain what you're doing. I find this beautiful.
Yeah, but it's really well done. Congratulations.
Thank you, man, for coming over.
Thank you for inviting.
Yeah.
Really.